Hi, my name is NURUL NATASYAH binti FAZLI, and I'm going to present regarding the functions and structures of the eyes. The function of the eyes are the receptor organs of sight, and their functions are to receive image and transmit them to the brain. Next is the structures of the eye include the eyeball and the anesthesia. They are attached to or surround the eyeball. The anesthesia of the eyes, also known as anesthesia oculi, are the structures outside the eyeball. These include the orbit, eye muscles, eyelids, eyelashes, conjunctiva, and lacrimal apparatus. Anesthesia means the accessory or adjoining anatomical parts of an organ. The term anesthesia is plural. Next is the orbit. The orbit, also known as the eye socket, is the bony cavity of the skull that contains and protects the eyeball and its associated muscles, blood vessels, and nerves. There are 6 major eye muscles, which are arranged in 3 pairs, are attached to each eye. These are the superior and inferior oblique muscle. Next is superior and inferior rectus muscles. Third is lateral and medial rectus muscles. These muscles make a wide range of very precise eye movements possible. Obliques describe an angle that is slanted but is not perpendicular or parallel. Rectus means straight. Next, binocular vision occurs when the muscles of the eyes work together in coordinations to make normal depth perceptions possible. Depth perceptions is the ability to see things in 3 dimensions.
Hi, my name is ZAHRA HANIN. I will explain about the eyelid. Eyelid is the movable tissue consists of skin and muscle that protect eyes from foreign matter, excessive light, and injuries. It also provides the moist chamber essential for the normal functioning of the conjunctiva and cornea. Next, the canthus. The canthus is the corner of the eye where the upper and lower eyelids meet. Next is cilia. Cilia is a small, slender, and hair-like structure making up eyebrows and eyelashes, which play important roles in maintaining normal eye function. Next, tarsus. Tarsus is 2 thick and elongated plates of dense connective tissue, a framework within the upper and lower eyelids providing necessary stiffness and shape. The tarsus serves as a main component of the eyelid. Conjunctiva of the eyes is transparent mucous membrane that lines the underside of each eyelid, protecting the exposed surface of the eyeball. It covers the inside of the eyelids and the white of the eyes. Conjunctiva also create mucous layer that form parts of our tears. It also prevents microbial entrance into the eyes, lines the inside of the eyelids, and provide a covering for the sclera. Now, we will explore the lacrimal apparatus. Lacrimal apparatus is a medical name for our tear system. It consists of the structure of the produce, store, and remove tears. Each of our eyes has its own lacrimal apparatus. Our tear system plays an important role for protect our eyes. There are 5 components in lacrimal apparatus and carry out certain function. The component of our tear system include lacrimal glands, lacrimal canals, lacrimal ducts, lacrimal fluids, and lacrimal sacs. First, lacrimal glands. Lacrimal glands located on the underside of the upper eyelid above the outer corner of the eye. It makes the salty water that become our tears. Next, lacrimal fluids. Lacrimal fluids maintain moisture on the anterior surface of the eyeball. Third one is lacrimal canal. Lacrimal canal is a duct at the inner corner of each eye that transmit tears from the surface of the eyes to the nasal cavity. Tears enter the duct system and conduct through the canal within the eyelids. Then the tears drain into the lacrimal sac. Next, lacrimal sac. Lacrimal sac collect tears that drain out of our eyes, act like temporary storage for the tears that have just left the eyes. The last component is lacrimal ducts. Lacrimal duct is a passageway that drains excess tears into the nose system and carries tears from lacrimal sacs into the nose.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Siti AINA AQILAH binti MOHAMMAD SHAHRIEN, and I am going to present regarding the eyeball. The eyeball, also known as the globe, is a 1-inch sphere with only about 1/6 of its surface visible. Fun fact, if one of our eyes were a digital camera, our eyes technically have 576 megapixels. There is no camera that can match the resolution of an eye. Next, we are going to talk about the walls of the eyeball. The walls of the eyeball are made up of 3 layers, which are the sclera, choroid, and retina. The first one is sclera. The sclera, also known as the white of the eye, maintains the shape of the eye and protects the delicate inner layers of the tissues. This tough, fibrous tissue forms the outer layer of the eye, except for the part covered by the cornea. The second one is choroid. The choroid, also known as the choroid coat, is the opaque middle layer of the eyeball that contains many blood vessels and provides the blood supply for the entire eye. Opaque means that light cannot pass through this substance. Last but not least, retina. The retina is the sensitive innermost layer that lines the posterior segment of the eye. The retina receives nerve impulses and transmits them to the brain via the optic nerve. This is also known as the second cranial nerve. Moving on to the segments of the eyeball. The interior of the eyeball is divided into the anterior and posterior segments as shown in the picture. Firstly, the anterior segment of the eye. The anterior segment makes up the front 1/3 of the eyeball. This segment is divided into anterior and posterior chambers. The anterior chamber is located behind the cornea and in front of the iris. Meanwhile, the posterior chamber is located behind the iris and in front of the ligaments holding the lens in place. Do take note to not get confused between the posterior chamber with the posterior segments. Next, the aqueous humor, which is also known as aqueous fluid, fills both of these chambers. The term aqueous means watery or containing water. As used here, the term humor describes any clear body liquid or semi-fluid substance. The aqueous humor helps the eye maintain its shape and nourish the intraocular structures. This fluid is constantly filtered and drained through the trabecular meshwork and the canal of Schlemm. In addition, the intraocular pressure, or IOP, is a measurement of the fluid pressure inside the eye. This pressure is regulated by the rate at which aqueous humor enters and leaves the eye. Next, the posterior segment of the eye. The posterior segment, which makes up the remaining 2/3 of the eyeball, is lined with the retina and filled with vitreous humor, also known as vitreous gel. This vitreous humor is a soft, clear, jelly-like mass that contains millions of fine fibers. These fibers, which are attached to the surface of the retina, help the eye maintain its shape.
Hi, my name is ATHIRAH HUMAIRA BINTI ZULKERI. I will explain about the structures of the retina. Let's start with the rods and cones. Rods are the black and white receptors, while cones are the color receptors. These photoreceptor cells receive images that have passed through the lens of the eye. Next, we have the macula. Macula is also known as the macula lutea. This clearly defined light-sensitive area in the center of the retina is responsible for sharp central vision. Within the macula lies the fovea centralis, a small bit that boasts the highest concentration of cones and NURULs. This makes it the area where color vision is at its best. Next, the optic disc, also known as the blind spot, is a small region in the eye where the nerve endings of the retina enter the optic nerve. This area does not contain any rods or cones to convert images into the nerve impulses. The optic nerve plays a crucial role by transmitting these nerve impulses from the retina to the brain, allowing us to process and interpret visual information. Now, we move to the uvea. The uvea is the pigmented layer of the eye. It has a rich blood supply and consists of the choroid, ciliary body, and iris. The ciliary body is a set of muscle and suspensory ligaments that adjust the thickness of the lens to refine the focus of light rays on the retina. It also produces the aqueous humor that fills the anterior segment of the eye. To focus on the nearby object, this muscle adjusts the lens to make it thicker. Conversely, to focus on the distant object, the muscle stretches the lens to make it thinner.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is FARINA binti MEOR FARIZAL. Let's move to the topic iris. The iris is the colorful circular structure that surrounds the pupil. The muscles within the iris control the amount of the light that is allowed to enter the eye through the pupil. To decrease the amount of the light entering the eye, the muscle of the iris contract, making the opening of the pupil smaller. To increase the amount of the light entering the eye, the muscle of the iris relax or dilate, making the opening of the pupil larger. The cornea, pupil, and lens. Cornea. The cornea is the transparent outer surface of the eye covering the iris and pupil. It is the primary structure focusing light rays entering the eye. Pupil. The pupil is the black circular opening in the center of the iris that permits light to enter the eye. Lens. The lens is the clear, flexible, curved structure that focuses image on the retina. The lens is contained within a clear capsule located behind the iris and pupil. Normal action of the eyes. First, accommodation. Accommodation is the process whereby the eyes make adjustment for seeing objects at various distance. Thus, adjustment include contraction and dilation of the pupil, movement of the eyes, and change in the shape of the lens. Second, convergence. Convergence is the simultaneous inward movement of the eye toward each other. This occurs in an effort to maintain single binocular vision as an object comes nearer. Let's move to the next. Number 1 is ametropia. Ametropia is the normal relationship between the refractive power of the eye and the shape of the eye that enables light rays to focus correctly on the retina. Number 2, refraction. Refraction, also refractive power, is the ability to the lens to bend light rays, so they focus on the retina. Number 3, last but not least, visual acuity. Visual acuity is the ability to distinguish object details and the shape at a distance.